recording is in progress. Did you hear that?
I sure did.
All right. All right. So I want to basically by the way, I just want to introduce you guys to Jordyn. Jordyn Cassandra. Is that your last name?
No,
Cassandra?
it's a middle name.
Your middle name. So I was
Started
like,
using my middle name, Jordyn Cassandra, when I was still working in corporate because I wanted differentiating personalities on social media so that I could kind of play both sides of the fence without having the conflict of having corporate people see how much I talked about how shitty corporate was.
gotcha. And by all means, I want to thank you for doing this because definitely, like I told you before, we spoke in the past, and I had mentioned, the idea of actually motivating people, giving them ideas of what to do. Like when I started doing this, nobody was actually there to be able to help me. So this is a big deal for me. This is something that I've had in my mind for a long time, and you actually willing to do this for me. It's awesome, and not just for me, but obviously for the people, that want to find want to change their dream, want to lose weight, want to do whatever it is. So I'm trying to get influencers, coaches, anybody that can help and motivate others, as you're doing every single day. I see your content, your videos. It's awesome. You're putting a message out there that's positive, and that's what I want to surround myself around, people like you yourself. And it's pretty cool that you're doing this.
Thank you.
So just a little bit about it now. Correct me if I mess anything up. So Jordyn, she is the founder, CEO of Make Moves Motivation, which I love that title, but I mean that brand, by the way. It's
Thank you.
awesome. Um, Me, I'm Victor. Obviously, you guys know me. The founder as well as Our Journey to Freedom. Now my whole idea was, like I said, to be able to inspire people to be able to do the same thing I'm doing every single day. Getting out there, chasing your dream. And Jordyn does this as well. So I mean, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. I'll tell you a little bit about my story right now. The major focus in my business is binge recovery, tearing down diet society, and shame healing. And the reason for that is because I am a binge eater, binge drinker, binge everythinger. I did that for most of my life, and I always was trying to treat that. I was always trying to fix the binging. I was always trying to fix the symptoms, is what I like to call it, because we treat binging and binge drinking and um, workaholism and all of these things as the issue, and we go and try and fix it, but it's just a band-aid solution because it's all just running, it's all just coping, it's all just numbing. So um, we're basically running and hiding from our own selves, our own minds. That's what we do. We binge TV, we binge food, we binge booze, we binge sex, we binge um, work. We just go, constantly filled by distraction after distraction, and that's what we do. So my main focus now is particularly attached to binge eating, only for the fact that that is my one of my very personal experiences, but also because I have been macros and nutrition coaching for years, and I think it's one of those untouched things. We have a huge emphasis on addiction, on alcoholism, on even workaholism is something that we talk about a lot. But binge eating is one of those underlying things that people don't talk about and are almost scoffed at when talking about it as an addiction or a numbing or coping mechanism, because it's not that bad. And there's all of this shame around diet society and around being overweight or being fit or being anything to do with your body is all shame oriented. And I feel like there's got to be some more speaking to that and education on your body and how it works fundamentally in by way of metabolism and adapting to the fuckery that diet society has created for us. So what I do now specifically is I do binge recovery. I work with people through their shame.
Okay.
So yeah, so shame, guilt, and getting out of your head, because really that is because we have no ability to step outside of our own thoughts, our own personal internal abuse system, then the reason, that's why we run, that's why we cope, that's why we numb. So I teach people how to get out of their head and back into their life so that they don't need to be an addict anymore to numb or cope or run from themselves or their life.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's a huge step to be able to, I mean, as a daily basis, if you're actually trying to do whatever it is, if you want to, get in shape or run a business, whatever it is, that those are things that are going to help you be able to do that, right? Obviously help you on the mental side, on the physical side. I mean, feeling good about yourself, it's a big step, I've had I've had a buddy where I actually try to motivate him to work out. I don't want to throw names out there, but he was like, no, I don't want to be that guy that goes to the gym every single day, like that. I don't want to be that guy. But I'm like, it's not about getting buff or anything like that. It helps your mind, Not just that. I mean, you're talking about eating right, all those good things, That's definitely a huge thing. So let me ask you this: at what point did you decide, hey, this is what I want to do? I want to become a binge recovery specialist or shame healer?
Well, it didn't really just it became that, I guess. I didn't just decide I'm gonna help people with binging. It was like, I'm gonna help people with whatever bout of extremism I was in that moment. So it was fitness, it was metabolism, it was macros, it started there because I was a binge eater and I wanted, like I said, to treat the symptoms. So I was treating the symptom with flexible dieting, with learning balance, with macro tracking, with control and being concise, but also eliminating the shame that goes with having a snack or a treat or living your life while you're still getting your goals. And that's what macro tracking and flexible dieting did for me. And then it's so interesting because as I built out and worked through my own shit, which was a ton of shame. I had one of the biggest egos that the biggest. I was proud, I was driven, I was hardworking, and I was constantly running from my own self. I had suffered a lot of loss. And what I found my biggest shame triggers, my biggest shame catalysts that I had to overcome were body image with diet society and everything that comes with that. Um, Unresolved trauma. That was a huge one for me because I was a barrier. I buried everything. I compartmentalized everything and I got to work. I always felt like I didn't have time, nor did I ever want to look at the things that had hurt me or, the losses that I went through and all of the trauma that came with being a human being, buried it, suppressed it, and had very masculine coping tendencies, which were food, booze, and overworking. And then the other shame catalyst that I had, which is the one that everybody has, is feeling like I am not good enough, or that I can't do enough, which hustle and grind society, which we see everywhere, is promoting all of the time. If you're not hustling, you're lazy. That's literally it. And if you're not burning out, you're not working hard enough. Like that's really the mentality that's being projected all over the place, even subliminally. So those were the things I had to overcome my own self, just so that I could live a more peaceful life, just so that I could heal my own binging tendencies and, get sober and do the things that I do now and who I am now. And it all led into this. Like over the years, I started as a macros coach, and then I decided to do macros and mindset. And then I started working with people on getting out of their head. And then I taught people how to build macros coaching businesses and how to rebuild metabolisms and how to heal the damage that diet society has done. And then I now work with people on the whole thing. And I decided specifically to work with binge recovery because, like I said, it's one of those things that's it's not taken seriously enough. And I feel like it's something that people desperately need to draw attention to. And because I have lived it and overcome it, I feel like it just is a natural course of where we can go.
Yeah. And it's crazy you're saying that because I've been in sales. Well, I actually still am in sales. I've been for the past 7 years, and that's we get so focused on making money and putting in your time, all that good stuff that we forget about those things. and especially in sales, you eat a lot, you drink, all that good stuff, and we start forgetting about ourselves, you know. And like you said, I mean, you have to be able to, you know, think about yourself, take care of yourself, and then that way you can feel better about it, you know. So my next question was going to be, how did you get started? But it sounds to me like, so you actually started, you started realizing those things, and then you started focusing on yourself, and then that's when that you actually started becoming a coach and all that good stuff.
I didn't even actually know those things yet when I started coaching. I've been coaching for 7 years. So
Uh-huh.
when I started, it was just I stumbled upon macros and flexible dieting and metabolism rebuilds and reverse dieting and how to actually take your body composition back, like and be in total control of it by manipulating food and being able to make treats fit. For me, it was being able to make treats fit. That's what started for me. Like that's where it all started. I jumped into another bout of extremism and decided I was going to go into a fitness competition and coach myself. So I took nutrition and I took personal training and I just coached myself and I learned about macros and I studied and I did all of that stuff. And then my friends were asking me, how are you having ice cream every day and looking the way that you do? And I said, well, it's this. And then finally I was like, light bulb, I'm going to just build a coaching business. So I did it in 3 days. I had a website, I had a macros coaching program, I had forums. I just sat down and did it. And I had a few girlfriends who started with me for free. And then they started referring their friends because they were seeing results. And then I came across, I actually started coaching my mother, and I discovered that the traditional way of coaching macros and calculating macros based off your stats, your height, weight, your age, and activity level is only a very small portion of what you need in order to actually calculate somebody's numbers per their metabolic rate. So at that point, I pivoted everything in my coaching to something that actually is custom to the person and where their body is currently at with the food they're presently fueling it with. And I was able to, over the last 7 years, completely transform the way people's body processes the food that you feed them. So in that was like, coming into that realization was like my light bulb moment, and also the point where I realized I really had something that I needed to continue doing, and I built that alongside working in corporate for 5 years
Yeah.
before I left, right? And now do this full time.
So now taking a step. So you said you've been doing this for 7 years now. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's going great. You know, you obviously you're doing really well. But prior to those 7 years, and I'm sure there was a time where you were like, you know what, like how did you motivate yourself to be able to do this? How did you, you know, say, hey, this is what I want to do? Because I'm sure there was times where you were like, you know what, is this what I really want to do? Or you know, where you kind of second guessed yourself. But I mean, it's cool because the fact that you've seen the results of people and people told you like, how are you doing it? And then that's how you made your way into it. But what helped you stay motivated during that time?
I'll tell you, actually, it's funny because my fear now, it's I still have them. I still have those fears. Like back then, I was just in the grind, like I was right in that hustle and grind mode. I was binge eating, binge drinking, and I was a workaholic. I was working, 9 to 5 plus coaching on the side, plus serving in a bar on the weekends. That was my life. I was go, 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 go. Drive was not hard for me
Mhm.
because I was constantly trying to numb and cope and escape my own mind. I couldn't sit alone by myself. So it was easy for me to get up and go because I was always trying to avoid that moment of silence where my mind would actually take over and make me feel terrible about myself.
Mhm.
So the drive part for me then wasn't hard, and it's never been hard for me to do or achieve because of that, because my trauma response was workaholicness.
Yeah.
It was always ultra independence and I can do this all myself. But the the fear for me that hits home a lot of the time is, am I actually making a difference? And like, it's hard sometimes. Like it's really hard when you're in it and you're doing it, and it's it's hard to face those demons all the time. It's hard to face, like, the thing about starting your own business, especially a coaching business, is it is going to shine a spotlight on all of your insecurities, and you have to face them in order to continue. You have to work through it in order to continue. Like, if you don't eat your own dog food, if you're not doing the things that you say or tell other people to do, or that you're coaching other people on, you are going to shame spiral your way out of your business every time, right? So the hard part, I think, is getting up every day and facing the bullshit that your mind puts in front of you. That is what you really are. If you're anything like me, that's where the struggle comes in, is because you have to heal. If you're going to work with people on healing, or if you're going to work with people on fitness, or on being in control of their body, or being in control of their diet, or releasing their binge eating tendencies, or whatever it is that you're going to be working with people on, you have to go and face your own downfalls in those things every single day, so that you can look at yourself in the mirror and look at your clients in the eyes when you're talking to them and telling them what to do, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to be, obviously, if you want them to believe you, and I mean, yeah, you have to be willing to do it yourself, you know. So a lot of the times, like me, being the fact that I do the videos and stuff like that, yeah, at the same time I'll produce stuff that I want to motivate people, do motivational, me going to the gym, stuff like that, which is not my main thing, but I want people to know that, hey, I'm doing it, you know, and I'm waking up. Things right now. I love the fact that you're already there, so for people can know that you can get there, but obviously it's gonna take, like you said, it's gonna take drive. You're gonna have to be committed to wanting to do what you set yourself to do, right? You have to be willing to wake up every single morning, and whether it's going to the gym or eating right, or setting up meal preps, whatever it takes to be able to get to that next step. Like they say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? So we got to do different things. So every day I'm thinking like, okay, what if I'm not doing this? What do I need to do? What can I try? You know, and you have, like you said, you have the drive, you know, but yeah, you have to still face the fact that you have to wake up every morning and do what you're preaching or what you're telling people to do, right?
Another thing that you can ask yourself too is, if not this, then what? Right? Exactly. Like, if I'm not doing this, if I decided, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to do anything. Like, I'm like, I don't want to, I get wrapped up in an anxious bubble, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to coach. I don't want to outreach. I don't want to, like, I just get in this state where my mind is like, you suck, basically, and what is the point? You're not making a difference. Like, those kinds of things come up for me, and I will have to literally sit and say, if not this, if I am not coaching, if I am not doing what I'm doing, then what will I do? What do I do instead? Is that going to fulfill me? Is that going to light me up? Is that going to do what this does for me? You know, like, if not this, then what? And if I can't come up with something better, then, and I never have, obviously, otherwise I would be doing something else. So
that's awesome. Now, was there ever a time that you, well, I mean, I'm sure there was, where you had to second guess yourself if that's really what you wanted to do, and how did you overcome that?
well, it's sometimes it's easy for your mind to trick you into forgetting how much of an impact you're actually making, like how in the right place you are. Mm-hmm. Because it wants it, your mind is scientifically, like, it is wired to constantly make you feel like you don't have enough, you're not doing enough, and you aren't enough. That's what it's doing for your survival, because we live in a society where social status is how we survive. More money, more fame, good looks, victimization is another big one. How can we survive? And those are the things that provide value or provide security. Mm-hmm. So we are always in that constant state of feeling like not enough, so that we're always going to be in pursuit of more. And my brain constantly will, not constantly, but often will try and make it seem like what I'm doing isn't enough. It's not enough. And I stay motivated by looking for the proof of the opposite of what my brain tells me. Right. I go back into client testimonials or client conversations or messages that I've received about content that I've posted. I really get in on the details of the opposite, because there's proof everywhere. It's just, you have to train your mind to see it, right? To prove that this is where you're meant to be, to prove that this is what you're supposed to be doing. It's easy for your mind to tell you that you suck and you're never going to get to where you want to be and you should probably just quit. But where's the proof of the opposite? Where's the little light bulb moments that you've had along the way, but now your mind is putting everything else in front of them? You need to go and grab them and put them in front of you so that you can actually live by that. Like, your mind is constantly going to try and pull you out of that state of mind, that state of being, because it's trying to keep you safe. So it's like every single day you got to go stand in front of the mirror and look at you and tell you about the things that you have done and all of the signs that are showing you that you're on the right path. Because your mind, if you don't pull the weeds out of your garden every single day, what happens to the garden? How many more weeds are there to pull the next day? How many more weeds are there to pull in 10 days? What happens in 100 days of not pulling weeds, right?
Yeah.
Your mind is that garden, and you have to constantly, no matter how much water and sunshine you feed it, if you're not pulling those weeds, it's going to become overrun, and you have to do it every day. Yeah. So it's not really about one question, one time, and you overcome it. It's a constant weed pulling. It's a daily practice. It's a setting your intentions and recognizing the proof of the opposite of where your mind wants to go in that negative space, and trying to live from that space instead.
Yeah. And like they say, I mean, to be able to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. A lot of people want to be comfortable, want to be like, you know what? I know a lot of people, they want to be living, and I'm not, hey, that's their choice, they want to live that average life, but I know there's a lot of opportunity out there for people to be able to do more, and not everybody is willing to actually chase their dream, or I fell into this two years ago, where I had no idea I wanted to do filming, video editing, all that good stuff, talking to people, motivating people, I never thought I would want to do that, but I started recording my own videos. Before you knew it, I was passionate about it. I got I mean, I had to do it almost every day, and now to the point where I do it pretty much almost every day, but because I want to be able to continue to grow with it, because that's what I want to do. So yeah, a lot of times we get uncomfortable, and we feel like, this might not be it, but that's what it takes. You have to be uncomfortable, like you're saying. My last thing.
Sorry, can I interject there? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes like, there's nothing wrong with being happy in an average life, right? Like, yes, exactly. We can be happy with where we're at, and we should be able to be happy with where we're at. It's okay to be happy with where we're at. That's the goal, really, right? So we don't want to judge people for wanting to live their average lives if they can be happy there. The difference is if you can't, you have to learn how to be happy there, and learn how to be happy in the moments as you go and build out what you actually are wanting out of life, right? Like, you need to find the balance of both. You need to be able to learn how to be happy now and in every moment that comes after that, because if you're not happy now and you can't learn how to do it here with what you are, where you are now, you're never going to learn how to be happy in the moment, because by the time you get to that moment, you have to still sit there and learn how to be happy in that moment regardless, right? Yeah. So in that, average lives can be beautiful lives. They can be absolutely amazing lives, but you can also want more and be more and become more all at the same time. And I think it's really important to not overlook that part, right? Like, being in pursuit of more is, I think that's incredible. We're here on a journey for the purpose of evolution. That's why we are here. It's important and it's valuable. And that's why we feel so good all the time. But at the same time, if we can find happiness now, and then look to where we can extend that happiness by living out our dreams, like you're saying, then.
And when I say that, like, I don't mean it as putting a money value behind it. I would mean as in, hey, if you want to be like, if you want to be a racer, you want to be a car racer, you want to be a dirt bike racer, you want to be a musician, whatever it is, do it. That's because a lot of people say, oh, well, it's too late now, or oh no, I can't do this, or oh man, I don't have the time. That's the number one excuse, right? Time.
Mhm.
But everybody's doing it. There's people out there that, I mean, yeah, some might have it rougher than the others. But if you want it bad enough, you will find the way to do it. So that's my whole thing is no matter whatever the circumstance, you can do it. So
Absolutely. You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
exactly, exactly.
If you really, really want to, you absolutely can. You just have to take the fear and know that it's there and keep going anyways. You still have to do it afraid,
Hmm.
right? And allow, like I said earlier, those opposite results, those results that prove the opposite of what your mind tells you about that fear, so that you can eventually myth bust your fear until it goes away, right?
No, exactly, exactly.
Love that.
So the last question I would ask you is, what
Mm.
would you recommend for people to, what would you tell people that are trying to do what you're doing? What would you say if they're starting, they're thinking, you know what, especially in your line, I mean, just when you put the title of a coach, there's a lot of competition out there, right? Everybody wants to be a coach now, but
Yes.
what would you say to somebody that's trying to be a binge recovery specialist or a shame healer?
I would even speak more generally. I would speak like as far as coaching goes. If you want to be a coach, if you want to influence people, if you want to help people, and you're looking for a way to coach people that is authentic,
Hmm.
then my recommendation is to look at your life story and find the things that you've overcome, the things that you had put in front of you, that you had to overcome, the things that you really struggled with, and the things that are going to really light you up to share with people to help them get through it.
Yeah.
And use your life story to build out your coaching business. Use the things that you have overcome, the things that you personally have experienced, to build out what you're going to help people with, because that's how you're going to evade your imposter syndrome. That's how you're going to evade the insecurities that are going to try and pull you down and say you can't coach people on this, because you're going to want to pick a point A that your perfect client is hanging out in, right? They're here at this point A. At some point in your life, you're at that point A, and where you are now is their point B. That's where they want to get to. And because you are there now, it'll become a lot easier for you to never feel like you're an imposter or like you're a fraud, because those are things that go through your head when you're coaching people,
Yes.
because you're the living example of where they want to go. So
Yeah.
my advice to anybody who wants to go and build a coaching business is do something that is related to your come up, your story of overcoming, so that it can be an extension of you. It can be just something that flows freely from you, and you know that you can get them there because you did it, right? And most people, when they're looking for coaches, they're not looking for the answers. They're looking for somebody who has done it so that they know they can too, right? That's why I share all the time about how much of a hot mess express I was for like a straight up decade of my very small adult life. Like, I'm only 31. So majority of my adult life, I was the Hot Mess Express. And I explain explicitly how dark it was, so that people who are in that dark place now know that they can come out of it, and that there is a point B that exists for them, and that no matter how much of a disaster they feel like right now, they will get there, and that they can get there. And that's the point, right? So if you're looking at becoming a coach and you want to help people, like, your purpose is in your life story, and you can go in and you can find it if you're looking back into you.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Definitely. For anybody that's trying to be, do whatever you want to do, like I said, chase your dream, become a racer, whatever it is, you can do it. You just have to set your mind to it. It's gonna take a lot. It ain't gonna be easy. The great thing is the fact that you bring up you'll bring up the stuff that you've gone through, and a lot of people don't do that. Everybody sees the videos, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. They all see the nice things, you know, the views. You riding on your motorcycle, they see the beautiful views, all that good stuff, right? But they don't see the what's going on behind the scenes, right? And it takes a lot for people to actually step up and say that, you know, it's people don't know what you're going through, and whatever you're going through, you can get through it. You know, you just have to set your mind to it. You know, so Jordyn, once again, thank you for doing this. It's been awesome. Definitely, hopefully, maybe we can do this again some other time in the future.
Sure.
But I really appreciate your time, and like I said, just anybody that's trying to go out there and chase their dreams, just do it. You know, just look at yourself in the mirror. One thing I've always said is don't tell, if you're gonna do something, don't tell nobody about it. Just go out there, look at yourself in the mirror, and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna do it, and take that step. I said it before, take that leap of faith, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And if you can find a mentor who's done what you've done, what you want to do, find them. Whether you pay them or their friend or family member or whatever, or if it's like a coach or whatever it is that you want to do, find a mentor who's done what you want to do and get in their circle. You know, whether you hire them or befriend them or whatever it is that comes from that, surround yourself with people who are either doing what you want to do or have done what you want to do, because that's where you're going to grow the most, right? Be resourceful, and that is legit the key.
Exactly. Hey, and the great thing for you guys is I'm gonna put your link on the bottom so people can actually reach out and talk to you. You know, if they need to talk to somebody, they can reach out to you as well. They can reach out to me, but definitely she is a coach. So, all right. Well, Jordyn, like I said, thank you so much again.
Absolutely.
Talk to you next time.
Sounds good. Have a great day.